Hello friends and welcome to YouTube channel Freedom Tech, and in this session what we are going to learn. In this session we are going to count the vehicle speed with the help of yolov8 and our tracking method. But before we move to our practical, friends, if you learn something from our videos, please consider to subscribe our channel. Okay friends, thank you so much and let's get started. So friends, in last video we successfully count vehicle with the help of yolov8 and our tracking method. So in this session we are going to use a same video, same code. We are going to only add few lines for counting their current speed. Okay, so if you don't know how to use yolov8, how to track the object, then how to count the vehicles or how to count object frequency, I have created a few videos. I will mention videos link, watch video, then you will get the idea. So as I mentioned, for today's session, for calculating vehicle speed, we are going to use our previous code. Okay, so if you don't know how to count and vehicles, how to track the vehicles, how to detect the objects, I will mention the videos link, watch video, and then you will get the idea. So this is what our previous code, where we have a counter for both sides. So here it is, we count 3 vehicles, now we count 4 vehicles. Okay, so same way we are going to use a same concept, okay, for counting the vehicle current speed. Okay, so let's get started. So first I'm going to stop the code and then we are going to freeze the frame. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code. So friends, in last session, what is our concept? We have 2 lines, L1 and L2, and we create the condition if our car center point, if it is touch at the first line, then we are going to save their ID and then we are going to save their current position inside our dictionary. Okay, so this is what our first condition. So if I move our code little bit up, okay, so as you can see, this is what our first condition. If cy1 is basically for our line 1. So as I mentioned, these all conditions, if you want to know, you need to first watch my previous video, then you will get the idea what these conditions are. Okay, so cy1 is basically stand for assigned for L1 area, the line 1. So if cy1 is less than cy plus offset and cy1 is greater than cy minus offset, means this is the condition when our vehicle, if it is touch at the first line, their center point, the vehicle center point, which is cy. So we mentioned vehicle center point, it is basically cy, the vehicle center point. If it is touch at the first line, then we are going to save their ID and then we are going to save their current position. So current position means we are going to save their cx and cy. Simple. So for counting the speed, we are going to save their current time. So only I have changed, instead of current position, when we are going to save their ID and current position, instead of current position, we need to mention simply the time. So time, how we mention time? First we need to import time. So I have mentioned here import time method. Okay, then here we need to call time.time. We need to call time.time. So for this, for counting vehicle speed, instead of saving their current position, we are going to save their current time when our vehicle touch at the first line. So here, when our vehicle touch at the first line, we are going to save their ID inside the dictionary and we are going to save their current time. So time is basically time.time. So here, this is what our dictionary, vh down, inside that dictionary. Now when our vehicle touch at the first line, now we have the current time and their ID. Simple. So for that we mention here, if I scroll up here, we mention vh down and their ID, each vehicle ID and their current time. Now simple, what is our next condition? We are only going to count those vehicles which already touch at the first line, means which already part of our line 1. So we save their ID and their current time inside our dictionary, means we have the data. We have the data when vehicles touch at the first line. So simply we are going to call if id inside our vh down dictionary, because we have the data of each vehicle, their current time and their id inside our dictionary, which is vh down. So simply we can create the condition if the id inside our vh down dictionary, then we can create our next condition, which I have already explained in previous video deeply. Then we can say the vehicles count at the L2, means of course the vehicles first touch at the first line, we are going to save their id and their current time, then vehicles move for L2 area, then we can say this vehicle is basically already touched at the first line. So now we can count the time when the vehicle touch at the second line. Also we have basically their id, so we can say this vehicle is already touched at the line 1 and we have the current time when the vehicle touch at the line 1 with their id, means we have the each vehicle current time when the vehicle touch at the first line, because we save their current time and their id inside our dictionary. So we can simply mention now our vehicle touch at the second line, so we can simply say we have the current time, because when the vehicle touch at the L2, same way we can mention the current time when our vehicle touch at the line 2. Okay, so here this is what our condition for here, this one. If cy2, so cy2 is basically our line 2. So if cy2 is, this is the condition, and then we can say we complete our condition, then we can simply say, I need to scroll down. Okay, so here I have mentioned if id in vh down means the vehicle inside our dictionary, now vehicle touch at the second line, so we can simply create the condition if cy2 is less than cy plus offset and cy2 is greater than cy minus offset. This is what our second condition. Now our vehicle is touching basically a second line, so we can say elapsed time is equal to time dot time. This time dot time is basically current time when our vehicle touch at the second line. Okay, let me open the frame. So we have this time when our vehicle touch at the first line, we have their time, the current time we save inside the dictionary. Now vehicle come to the second line, it's touched the L2 line, again we need the current time when the vehicle touch at the second line. So for that again we need to mention time dot time. So here this is the condition for vehicle touching at the second line. Then I have mentioned elapsed time is equal to their current time. This time is basically when the vehicle touch at the second line, this time, minus their previous time. Previous time means their L1 time, the line 1 time. So L1, what is line 1 time? Where we have line 1 time, we saving their line 1 time inside vh down id. So simply we need to mention vh down id, because vh down id is basically their particular id and their particular time, the time when the vehicle touch at the first line. So simply we need to minus both time, the previous time and the current time the vehicle touch at the second line. So second line time and first line time we need to minus. So for that elapsed time, this is variable, is equal to, this is the second line time when the vehicle touch at the second line, this is that time and this is our previous time. Then we have elapsed time. Okay, now simply we are going to use the we are going to, not distance basically, sorry, we are going to use the speed formula, distance divided by the time. Okay, so we have distance. So distance in these two lines, I have mentioned the distance in these two lines 10 meter. Okay, so this distance in between these two lines I have mentioned 10 meter. So now we have the distance of two location distance. So simply we can say a speed ms, meter per second, distance divided by elapsed time. The elapsed time, we have elapsed time, we have distance. So now simply we can mention a speed kilometer per hour, then we have a speed meter per second. So simply we can mention a speed ms multiply by 3.6, then we will get kilometer per hour speed for each vehicles. Simple formula. This is the basic formula. Okay, so this is how you will get their current speed for each vehicle. Okay, so this is the condition for going downside. Same way going upside. Here it is, as you can see, I have mentioned the going up. As I mentioned, for this you need to watch previous video. Okay, so this is what our going upside condition. If cy2 is again less than cy plus offset, then cy2 is greater than cy minus offset. Why first cy2? Because when vehicles want to go upside, of course it will touch at the first line, so we need to mention first line L2 and then the L1. So for that I have mentioned cy2 is basically assigned for line 2. So cy2, then we will get same condition, vh up id. When the vehicle touch at the second line, their current time, again we are going to save their id and their current time inside the dictionary. So we have here a dictionary, as you can see, vh up, this is what the dictionary. Okay, and then here after that, of course, we can send the same condition. We can say only count those vehicles which already touch at the second line. So we have again same condition. If id inside the vh up, then we are going to mention our vehicle is touching basically first line, then we are going to save elapsed 1. So simply we need to change the variable. Here we mention, for downside we mention elapsed time, for upside we are going to mention elapsed 1 time. Elapsed, here as you can see, elapsed 1 time. Simply change the variable. Then formula is the same. We are going to mention the line 1 current time, because when vehicles want to go up, let me show you again, when vehicle want to go up, it's already touched at the second line. So we have second line current time, now it's touching the first line L1, so we need to mention that current time also. So elapsed time is equal to this time dot time is basically when vehicles want to go up, this time dot time is basically our vehicle touching at the first line, means it's already touched at the second line. So here we mention this is the time for vehicle touching at the second line. Okay, so simply we can mention same condition, time dot time, and this is the previous time. Okay, and then same way the distance 10, then speed ms1 means meter per second 1. This is ms1 is basically the variable. Here first we mention ms, so simply we change the variable. Okay, so ms1, then same formula here I have mentioned distance 1, so distance 1 divided by elapsed 1 time, because we have here elapsed 1 time, this is our variable, so we need to mention elapsed 1 time. And then speed kilometer per hour 1, then we need to simply multiply by 3.6, then we will get their current speed. As simple, friends. Just you need to first watch the previous video, then you will get the idea what all these things. Then this is the basic formula for calculating the speed. We need the distance between in two areas, and we need the previous time and the current time, or we can say we need the current time or the previous time, only minus both time, and then we will get the elapsed time, then distance divided by elapsed time, then we will get the speed. Simple. Now I am going to start the while loop, and here I have mentioned cv2.puttext method, and simply I have mentioned, here it is, as you can see I have mentioned a speed kh, so this is our variable I have mentioned, and the current speed it will show as a text on x4 and y4. X4 and y4 is basically the rectangle coordinates, so it will show the current speed. Simple. So here also for upside also I have mentioned put text method, and the variable is basically a speed kh1. Simple. So now what we are going to do, we are going to start our while loop, and if I save the code, if I run the code, now watch the speed. This 47 km per hour, 46, 52 for this side. We counted 3 vehicles and their speed 55, 45, 45 again for this vehicle, 45 kilometer per hour, 40 kilometer per hour. Okay, so for these vehicles, of course, 25 kilometer per hour. For these vehicles, watch, for these vehicles we have 44 kilometer. This vehicle is basically going up, so we counted going up vehicle 1, and their speed also we counted. Okay, so for this vehicle we already count the speed. Let's just watch for this vehicle which is coming. This vehicle is completely stopped. I think there is a signal. Okay, so 34 kilometer per hour this vehicle speed. This vehicle is coming. Of course, for these vehicles, let's say 12 kilometer per hour speed, because this vehicle is stopped, there is a signal something. Okay, so the speed is low and it's 11 kilometer per hour. Of course, because this vehicle is stopped, there is a signal. Now it's slowly little bit moving. So watch for this side, 38. This is basically truck, because we mentioned the condition, we only want to count the car. We are not going to mention the truck and all these things. So for this car we have 40 kilometer, 33 kilometer, then 32, 26. For this we have 38, 38. So this is how, this is the basic fundamentals, how you can calculate the speed. This is the basic fundamentals. Of course, in your case the distance between two areas is different, then the speed, of course the line points are different, so you will get the different speed, but the method is same frame. For calculating the speed, the method is same. Okay, so I hope you will learn something from this video. We'll meet our next video. Till then, thank you, take care, and bye bye.